everyone, it's Emily, and it's been a little while, but today I'm going to be sharing all the games that I picked up in October. So the bulk of my hobby fund sort of went towards these figures that I wasn't expecting to purchase earlier last month that I'm really excited to have in my collection, but scale figures are quite expensive. So I only picked up a few games last month, and I had a few pre-orders and things that I ordered previously also come in beginning. So I'm going to be sharing a few of those titles, and there are a few in here that I'm really excited to finally own. So the first game I'm going to share is one that I finally got my hands on, and that is Trails from Zero, the Switch edition. So I did unbox the limited PS4 edition, but I really wanted to play this game on the Switch due to some of the quality of life and graphical enhancements that were only available on the PC version and the Switch version. So originally I had this pre-ordered at Best Buy, and I was supposed to pick it up the day it came out, but I just kept getting so many different delays from various retailers. So I first tried Best Buy and had no luck with no ETA of when the stock was going to arrive, and then I switched over to GameStop to try to order online, and I found with their website, even if they say they have a game in stock, that's not necessarily true. That means they are expecting stock. And so that didn't ship out for a few weeks either. And eventually I just ordered on Amazon, and after a couple little hiccups and delays, this finally reached me. Because of the delay, I'm not super far into this game yet, and also one of the reasons why I've been absent on YouTube is because of work commitments. But yeah, I've only spent maybe 10 hours so far in this game, and I do plan on bringing it with me actually on a work trip. So I'm hoping to finish this up soon, especially once my schedule starts calming down a bit. Alright, so these next two games are two Asian English exclusive titles that I picked up during a Play Asia sale that they had, I believe, towards the end of September, if I'm remembering correctly. So the first game I picked up was Chrono Cross, the Chrono Triggers edition on the Switch, and I've actually never played the original Chrono Cross. I played a little bit of Chrono Trigger way back in the day. I never actually got around to beating it, which I'd really love to revisit that game someday, because it is very much a classic, of course, but it's also one of those titles that has really stood the test of time and is just as fun to play today as it was back then. But Chrono Cross here is a whole different beast, and it's a bit controversial from my understanding. So it's a game that people have cited as their favorite game of all time, but then on the opposite spectrum, there's a lot of people who openly dislike this game as well. So I am curious how I would fall personally in that spectrum. I'm leaning towards that I would really like it because of all the different choices you have with the recruitable party members. I think there are 40 different characters you could potentially recruit, which is crazy. And the story I've heard also is very good. And while this is an enhanced version, it does show its age a bit, especially in the graphics. But from what I've seen in the trailers, it looks like a really fun game. So I'm very excited to get into this and to more classic JRPGs that I missed out in my early childhood. And then the other Asian English game that I picked up was this Atelier collection. So this is the Dusk trilogy, and I've actually played, I would say, 1.5 of these games already. So my first introduction into the Atelier series was actually with Atelier Aisha DX, and I did play that on the Vita. So I would recommend Aisha as a great place to start for anyone curious about the Atelier series. And this collection is actually, I think, a pretty good price overall, because you do get 3 different games that are quite lengthy. I did play a little bit of Eska and Logi a while back on the Vita. I want to say I got maybe 25% in, and this is the only game that you could actually play as a male protagonist if you wanted to. So that's one of the unique features about this Dusk trilogy in particular. When it comes to the Atelier series, it's really interesting how they change the formula every time and really make it both a familiar but refreshing experience. And this deluxe pack also comes with all the DLC from the previous games, and so you really get a ton of content in here. And so for anyone who's looking for a more casual JRPG that has some collecting and crafting mechanics, these games just really hit that sweet spot, I think, and are very comforting games. Alright, next up, I did pick up one PS Vita title, and it's one that I've had on my wish list for quite a long time, and I'm really happy that I have it now, and that is the Zero Escape collection on the Nonary games. So this has both Zero Escape and Virtue's Last Reward. So I'm really happy to have it on Vita now. I did pick up Zero Time Dilemma few months back, so I have the entire trilogy now. So I'm very excited to finally get to this very well-regarded visual novel that I keep hearing wonderful things about. And as I mentioned multiple times on this channel, I really loved these Files. So I think after I finish the sequel, the Nirvana Initiative, I'm going to go back and play the director's original games. And so the premise of these games is like a escape room gone wrong. So I'm very excited to dive into these. And I've heard numerous great things about the writing and the characters and how there's so much hidden depth in these games. And it is a visual novel, so there are different routes and endings, but the true ending, how it all comes together, I've heard is very satisfying, especially the first game. And the sequel, Virtue's Last Reward, is also supposed to be very excellent as well. So yeah, my PS Vita collection has been slowly growing this year, which I'm really happy about. I just need to find time to start playing these because I've built up quite a stack. Next up, I have a 3DS game that I've wanted to pick up for a while, but I was waiting for a non-world edition for a good price. And that is Poochie's and Yoshi's Woolly World. So this is a classic Nintendo platforming game. I've actually never played a Yoshi game before, but I really love the art aesthetic. I hear it's not as good as the Wii U version, but I have a feeling this will just be one of those kind of comfortable, cozy platformer games that won't stress me out. Alright, so we're on to my last game here, and this is one that I have wanted in my collection for quite a long time. It is a original Nintendo DS game, and I mentioned this before, I'm very hesitant to buy DS games online because of just how many fakes are in circulation, especially for very popular Nintendo titles. So I was really happy that I found this listing that made it very clear that this wasn't a fake with how they took pictures and everything. So I'm really happy that I now have Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon in my collection. So this is a remake of the original Fire Emblem game that came out in Japan, has Martha as the main protagonist. So the Fire Emblem games just has so much history and lore that really revolve around this first entry here. So I'm really excited to play this game finally. And I really wanted to pick this game up before Fire Emblem Engage on the Switch comes out next year because of how the whole summoning works, where you can call upon different warriors from the past to help fight with you. And Marth is one of those warriors you could call upon, so I really want to play his game. And I feel like Fire Emblem Engage is just going to be really rewarding for those who are familiar with the history of the Fire Emblem series. So I really wanted to dive into some of these earlier titles and be more well acquainted with those characters, just to have that maximum impact for one of my most highly anticipated games for next year. Alright, so that was everything. I was really pleased to have picked up so many great quality titles that I'm really excited to dive into sometime after I finish Trails from Zero. But yeah, let me know what games you guys picked up last month and what you're looking forward to. I do know there are a lot of heavy hitters coming out in November, like Pokemon, which I think I'm going to wait on, mostly because of my ridiculous backlog. And I'm going to kind of hope that it follows a similar trend to the other Nintendo games lately, where you can find deals of these games at a slight discount a few months later. So I'm not in a huge rush to experience the new Pokemon, though depending on how it goes, I might be tempted to give in and play it along with everyone else, but we'll see. As far as videos go, I am going to be still busy with work. I am actually traveling to 2 conferences next week that are back-to-back in 2 different cities. So I won't have time to make videos, but I'm hoping to kind of get back on my regular schedule sometime around mid-November. As long as there's not some new project that catches me off guard, sort of what happened a couple weeks ago. But anyway, I hope you guys are all well, and I will be back with a new video sometime soon, hopefully. So until then, take care.